Dakota is with us to start this hour in San Antonio. Hi, Dakota. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
So I wanted to see if I could get a little bit of guidance from y'all. I live with my boyfriend and we have a baby together, but we do not have our finances combined. I bring debt into our relationship. He does not have any debt. So I'm currently working on the baby steps, using the snowball, and have been trying to knock that out. But we do have quite a few shared finances. Like we pay for my 50-50 for my daughter's daycare, 50-50 for rent, groceries, all that stuff. So we're constantly like Venmoing or writing each other checks or things like that to reimburse. And so I was just going to see, do you recommend continuing to keep our finances separate until I knock out the rest of my debt? Or should we go ahead and combine them to make our everyday expenses easier?
So Dakota, why don't y'all just get married?
Because I have a lot of guilt about having the debt, and I want to knock it out before we get married.
So you're waiting for marriage to pay off your debt.
Yes.
Okay. I would encourage you. I would not wait. I wouldn't wait. And I would encourage people who want to get married they don't have to wait. I think even having a baby, you don't need to wait to have a baby till you're debt free. That this debt, I wouldn't say, I think that's kind of a separate thing. I know what makes you feel guilty about it. Just the fact that you guys would combine finances when you get married and you are going to take you guys backwards. Is that it?
Right. Yeah. And he does have like a much larger income than I do. And so I just would hate for there to be any like resentment or animosity about me bringing in debt when he doesn't have any.
Has he kind of alluded to that? Is that a little bit of kind of his MO, or are you playing that tape in your head just out of yourself?
Probably more of the latter. Yeah, he's never alluded to any.
Yeah.
Hey, Dakota, how old are you?
I am 26.
Okay. This guy's in love with you. You have a baby with him. You sleep with him. You live with him. And you're trying to figure out how to combine incomes and combine everything, but do all of that without combining the debt. Too late. That ship has sailed. Rachel's right. I'm going to put my old man arm around you and give you a hug and say, honey, best thing for that baby, best thing for this man, best thing for you is get married and then combine your incomes, combine your lives, combine everything, join it together so tight that it cannot be torn asunder, and then go live a beautiful, glorious life.
Okay.
And getting out of debt's part of the adventure. Raising the child is part of the adventure. Waking up and looking at him when he starts to lose his hair is part of the adventure. Okay?
All right. Awesome. Well, thank y'all so much for your help.
And then, see, here's the problem. It's legally and relationally very difficult to financially play house when you're not married, because you get into this argument over the mustard, who bought the mustard, and yet you're in the same bed. It's just, it's so inconsistent and incongruent. It's just weird and awkward. And that's just a part of the system that you're using is all. And it's not a judgment thing. You didn't hear judgment in our voices. We just want good things for you. We love you, and we love that baby, and we want you guys to have a wonderful life. And so I would take that tape out of your head, and I would wad it up and throw it away, that somehow you've done something wrong by bringing the debt to the table. For God's sakes, baby is a 10. Debt is a 1 on a scale of 1 to 10. Okay? Relationship
Marriage
is a 10. Marriage is a 10.
Mm-hmm.
On debt is a small thing. If you're both in agreement that this debt is a bad thing and we're going to clear it as fast as we can using all of our combined marital incomes and assets, and so that we can have a wonderful, glorious life for this baby and as a couple, then you're going to knock that debt out so fast it's silly, and it's blocking you from having your best possible, wonderful, glorious life.
Yeah, it's hard to work as a team when you're legally not a team and you're having to go around all this stuff. So
it's just
you
hard.
guys are doing great.
It's hard to do finances with your roommate. It just is. It's
Yeah.
you can't act like you're married with your finances when you're acting like you're married with every other part of your life. It's so awkward and weird, and it's hard. And I'm not saying you're awkward and weird. I'm just saying this is the way it works. It's very difficult. Hey, thanks for the call. Very, very good question. A lot of people living together that aren't married have that exact question. We've had it over the years a lot. The other issue is that there's all kinds of data out there in the world, and this is not for Dakota, but this is just generally on this discussion, that they call it the poverty cycle or the poverty indicators. There's about 3 or 4 poverty indicators that if you have a baby before you're married, again, not messing with Dakota here, but I'm just giving you the poverty indicators. If you get married before graduating from high school, or start living with someone before you graduate from high school, and we keep going on, the levels of education, all these different things. All of these things are indicators that you're 90% more likely. I have to pull the study up. I can't remember the details, but you're 90% more likely to live below the poverty level, if you don't do these things that are really social indicators of what's going on in your life. Because what happens is it's very difficult to prosper financially when you're 17 years old with a baby.
Yeah, well, for sure.
Yeah,
but I think even more than that, the stuff that I've seen in research within the marriage aspect of the rate of divorce is higher.
Of those that live together.
So for me, I'm like, there's a probably a spiritual conviction that we have with this. But they're also, over the years of seeing people do this, like you said, just kind of playing house, there's a commitment level there in a marriage that has to be there.
And it affects your outcome financially.
Yes, and when it's not there, right. And that's what I'm saying is like the tentacles play in. It's just like when people come in with a marriage, a money question about marriage. So, well, my spouse won't get on the same page. The tentacles are just the money, but there's so much underneath that. And so pressing this generation, it sounds great. Oh, well, I'll see if we like each other enough to live together. The living together is the small portion of it. It's the marriage commitment that is the greatest weight, and that weight has been taken away from this generation, is what it feels like to me.
Yeah. Now you're sounding like an old person. Look at you. From this generation.
Don't
worry about this generation.
I've been married for 12 years.
Don't worry about the generation.
Unbelievable. Those Gen Zers.
Oh, little puppies.
Oh, God bless them.
This is The Ramsey Show.